Brought to you by GTA, your island, your network.
He's raised concern prior to and during the actual inauguration, and just days after being sworn in, Senator Frank Aguon Jr. isn't too happy with the recent action taken by the new Committee on Rules chairman.
My concern is that the chairman of the Committee on Rules has made a unilateral decision in taking funds out of a senator or a committee's budget. And in that particular case, the operations and the budgeting of this legislative body needs the concurrence of the committee, not the chairman of the Committee on Rules as a sole individual.
In a memo to the legislature's chief fiscal officer, Core Chairman Michael Nicholas is rescinding $30,000 in lapsed funds given to each of the 9 majority senators in the 33rd Guam Legislature. Senator Nicholas says during the transition from the 33rd to the 34th Guam Legislature, he uncovered the move to the Guam Congress building would be incurring additional costs that were not budgeted for.
So in order for us to make sure that we have the cash on hand to be able to properly transition, I reversed that gifting, and we're going to be holding those funds in reserve in order to make sure we can fund the transition that needs to take place between now and March.
Aguon says with the move, they need to consider any anticipated savings for the balance of this fiscal year.
So why take this $270,000 from senators' budgets, take it and let's return it to the Treasury so that we can pay for either prior year obligations or pay for small business vendors who can pay their employees and allow them to take care of their families.
We can take that under recommendation. The savings that the building is going to be incurring will be realized, but it's not cash in the bank. And the transition requires funds up front. With that savings, we can determine reallocations at that time, but I don't like to spend money until it's actually in the bank. If Senator Aguon thinks that we can incur expenses with savings that aren't even realized yet, he's mistaken.
And with this recent memo, Aguon's also questioning cost-saving measures proposed by Nicholas, such as reducing central operations key staff.
It's a penny wise and a pound foolish, because you're taking from the bottom. You're taking from the hardworking central staff employees, and you're creating another position, a chief protocol officer position. So you're taking from the bottom and you're giving to the top. Is that sound fiscal responsibility as it applies to the operations?
Aguon questions this chief protocol officer position as its duties are already carried out by the sergeant at arms. Nicholas says they are in fact different, adding with the new building, he wants to make sure it's properly maintained and handled. This position would have a salary in the range of $60,000 and is being budgeted from the rebalancing of the central office budget.
I'm actually in shock that he would make that statement. I would like for him to provide an example as to what he thinks sound physical management would be. But, there's an old saying that says that he who is wise in small things will be wise in bigger things. And so I hope that Senator Aguon, with his bigger ambitions, will take that to heart, that we have to be wise with the pennies if we're going to be wise with the pounds.
Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Ken Quintaniza.
Brought to you by GTA, your island, your network.